Hello everyone, Vice President Jeff Wensing coming to you from sunny Columbus, Ohio. I know it's spring break season for many of our educators, but it's spring break season for our legislators as well. So as they return to Columbus, they'll be picking up and deliberating legislation that affects us as educators. I'll be highlighting some of that today. Number one is House Bill 1, the Fair School Funding Plan. This is our attempt to fix the unconstitutional funding formula that has gone on for 25 years or so since the DeRolf decision. We think our best pathway to victory is by getting it passed through the House and then adding it to the budget bill, which is House Bill 110. Scott testified on that a couple of weeks ago. Also, a major piece of legislation that we're monitoring is House Bill 200, report card reform for our buildings and our school districts. The current plan that's being considered by the House is a plan that replaces A through F grades with phrases such as meets expectations or exceeds expectations. But the Senate is considering a plan of their own, which is a 5-star plan where they would have the opportunity to award half stars. So I had a meeting the other day with some stakeholders over at ODE, and the thought is these are positive signs. Both sides, bipartisan agreement that the report card is broken and needs fixed. We haven't landed in a happy place yet, but both sides are talking about report card reform, which we believe is a great sign. Moving forward, House Bill 54 and House Bill 100, both are bills, companion bills, that basically do the same thing, and they dissolve academic distress commissions and return local control to those school systems in Lorain, East Cleveland, and Youngstown. House Bill 99 is a piece of legislation that seeks to reduce the training requirements for school personnel that carry a firearm in school, and we don't believe that that is correct. You know, if you are going to carry a firearm, you need to be trained to the utmost, just like a peace officer would be trained that has to carry a firearm. And lastly, House Bill 151 is a piece of legislation that seeks to repeal and replace our resident educator program with a 2-year mentoring program for our educators. Also, what we have going on is a contest. It's called Design Ohio's Future. Our voters have spoken and said that we need to have our district lines drawn more fairly in Ohio so they are more representative of the constituents, and it provides an opportunity for candidates to win, to run and win and be successful in those districts that they represent. So you have an opportunity. If you're a student, a middle school student, or a high school student, or an OEA member, you can draw the lines for the Ohio House, Ohio Senate, and the representatives that go to Washington, D.C. that represent you in Congress. We have a tool that does it. It's called Redistricter, and we have 3 categories that you can enter in it. It's most politically competitive, second is the fewest community splits, and the third one is most creative. So if you know social studies teachers, or if you are a social studies teacher, maybe you can involve yourself and your students in this pretty cool project. You'll get to know Ohio, the demographics. It's a great tool. It gives you all that information as you try to draw the new lines for these voting districts. Spring is also a time where we can have spring FCPE drives, which are now called OEA Fund drives. We're rebranding FCPE and calling it the OEA Fund. So I know that it's an opportunity for us to build our fund and build our voice with the legislators that we represent all across Ohio that we support, that support public education. So take that opportunity to have an OEA Fund drive. And lastly, SRS Elections are underway. Look for your ballots. Our endorsed candidates for the active seat is Carol Carruthers, and for the retired seats, Robert Stein and Rita Walters. They are running for re-election. They've done a fabulous job representing the interests of retired educators and active educators as we move forward through this system. We need qualified, experienced people that represent our interests. They are part of a premier pension system as it's recognized across the United States, and we need to keep these people on the board that represents Ohioans, Ohio teachers, Ohio educators on these boards. So thank you. Have a good week and welcome to spring, and we'll enjoy the last few months as we get to the finish line. Thank you.